Sean Durzi plays defense for the Ontario Reign, and he joins us now. Sean, thanks for swinging on during this trying time for all of us.
Yeah, I mean it was tough to find the time to make this work, but I'm happy. I'm happy we found a little bit of space in my schedule.
Sean Durzi plays defense. Have you ever noticed that, like in hockey, when you talk about defensemen, it's defense, but in basketball, it's defense?
Yeah, you're right. It is a little weird like that, but
Yeah.
Think of all
sports,
like
different
all the
language,
chants, like the college chants, like defense.
Defense,
like clearly
right?
defense.
Yeah, it's
defense.
clearly.
Well, I
Maybe it
used
just
to
works
always
smoother.
say Detroit. It's Detroit, but my wife's from Western Michigan, and it took a while, but now it is Detroit. But I used to always say Detroit, which sounds way cooler.
Yeah, Detroit.
Yeah,
Maybe it's because of all those chants. Defense, Detroit. Sounds smooth.
We're putting things together here. Well, Sean, we like to open with an icebreaker, and Zach, you'll obviously participate as always. So, would you rather chew a piece of gum a day, one piece of gum a day of your choosing, but you have to, when you're done with it, you have to swallow it every single day, 365, 366 on leap year, right? Yeah. Okay. Or you have to drink half of a can of Mountain Dew every day.
Gotta be probably the Mountain Dew.
Zach?
Even though that stuff's gotta be a little bit of poison, but
Oh yeah.
I think I'd go the other way. I think
Really?
I would go with
Wow.
the gum. And I wonder if I could find like a loophole where I could find like a smaller piece of gum. You said any kind.
You could do like
And
Dentine Ice.
Or like remember Skittles gum?
the
They had
small
those
pieces.
little tiny pieces that are shaped like Skittles. I feel
It's
like I
got to
could
be a
find a
piece of
loophole
gum.
like
We're
that.
none of that. None of that. Like you
Looking for
can't
loopholes.
do like one strand of Big League Chew. Like it's gonna be
Yeah, sure.
yeah.
But
It's gotta
I
be.
mean, you remember the myth like growing up when everyone was like, "Oh, you swallow a piece of gum and it stays in your body for like
that's
13
why
years."
I stayed away from that one.
I'm pretty
That
sure
myth.
that was untrue.
I think that's a myth. I don't
I
think
think
that's
that's
true.
untrue. So I think I would take the gum because like I just know like whenever you have Mountain Dew, it just like it messes with you. Like it
can't
it
be
really
that good for you.
See, I think I could live with the Mountain Dew if I could have it over the course of the day. So I put it on ice. You know, like anything on ice is a lot better.
Yeah,
which
cool.
we've talked about on other podcasts. And I think I would put it on ice and I would have like a quarter, you know, maybe around lunchtime and a quarter with dinner, something like that. Like you could find a way.
Yeah, I'm actually a big sparkling water guy. I like the bubbles. I like that bubbly drink. So
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's why gotta go with a little bit of bubbles.
I cut soda out pretty much. I rarely drink soda. I feel like every single day adding it in would do more harm to me than the gum. Because you could do the same thing with the gum. I could take the gum and chop it up into 5 pieces and swallow a piece at different points in the day too.
That's not
Still looking for loopholes. They do.
Well, you just created a loophole. You just created one for your side. So I'm doing the same thing.
I'm saying you have to drink half a can of Mountain Dew. It's not like I'm trying to. I'm
not saying that I have to swallow one piece of gum.
Look, you want to play the game or you want to play whatever game you're playing. You do my would you rather. All right, we'll move right along. So the big, thing with you, people, LA Kings fans, they see your name, they think about the big trade, which I think I say it on the broadcasts all the time. That is one of the best trades. Even if, Sean, even if you turn out to not, be all that great, it was a great trade. They got 3 really solid prospects for a player that, you're going through a transition. I just, what a trade that was. I can only imagine how you think of it. And of course I jest, you're a 2nd round pick. They got a really top quality prospect, in addition to one other, and then eventually 2 others with the draft pick of Bjornfoot. But take us through that day. Take us through finding out that you were traded to the LA Kings and that it was a pretty high profile trade.
Yeah, that was just a normal day for me. I was living in Guelph, Ontario at the time. We were getting ready for a big playoff push, and we had a good team, and things were going great. And I it was around 7 p.m. on I forget, just one of the weekdays, and I got a call from the general manager of the Leafs and Kyle Dubas, and he I actually had a dinner planned for one of the development guys in Toronto that night, and he ended up calling me, and he explained to me that there was a trade made, and I was going the other way, and at the end he said, "Wish you the best," and it's just something that I think will work for both organizations, and that's really all I got out of it. It was a big surprise to me.
Did he tell you the players at that time or anything like that?
No, he kept it all confidential. He just said he let me know, and he reached out to me first. He made it clear that he wanted to do that, and I was appreciated that. And then I got a call from a Mike Futa with the LA Kings, and he kind of gave me a little welcoming, and as much as he could over the phone in such a short time, and such a quick turnaround. And I ended up that night I was all over the news, especially in that area with a lot of Leaf fans and things like that. It's crazy. So I ended up going out for dinner still because it was quite the drive for the development guy to come to Guelph, and he was already there. So went out for dinner, and I remember the people at the restaurant ended up giving us a few free extra items because it was all over the TVs, and they recognized that it was me in the restaurant, and thought that wanted to wish me luck and congratulations on whatever that was. And yeah, I mean, it was really hard for me to kind of comprehend what was going on as a player who hasn't even been in pro hockey yet, and just as a draft pick, as a prospect. I wasn't even signed at the time, and I mean, I just kind of took it as learning and kind of going through it for the first time. And I think both organizations were really great with the transition, and really great with wishing me the best and welcoming me, and I thought they both did a first-class job on whatever the transition was for myself.
Did Kyle Dubas tell you on the phone, "Hey, you're going to LA," or did he just say you've been traded?
He told me I was going to LA.
Okay.
And he said that I was getting a call shortly after, which I did. Seconds after we hung up the phone, I got a call from Mike, and it was just quick. It was brief. It was professional, and I guess that's when you kind of realize it's a business. Teams are trying to win hockey games. Teams are making moves, and sometimes you're going to be a part of them.
I remember that day vividly, actually, because I was sitting at home trying not to fall asleep during the AHL All-Star 3-on-3 challenge, and this news was actually a little bit more eventful and kind of perked me up a little bit. Got the press release all of a sudden. I was like, bang, we got yourself, Carl Grunstrom, and the first round pick. And I actually thought it was one of those rare trades where it benefited what both teams were doing. Like, it was a great trade, like you said, Cam, for the Kings. But if you're the Leafs, you're probably like, hey, like, we got a player that can help us now in the moment. And the Kings got three players that are going to help them down the road. And it was pretty cool. And Durz, this is actually, your second trade of that year. You said you were in Guelph, and that wasn't where you started that year. So how did that trade go down for you, where you moved on to Guelph in the OHL?
Yeah, it was shortly after that trade. I remember I kind of had a little bit more of an idea if that one was going to happen. I mean, it was my last year of junior hockey, and I knew that in junior teams either have an older team and are trying to win, and other teams are trying to rebuild, and I figured towards the deadline I would get a better idea, and I thought that maybe something would happen, and I was a little more prepared for that one. But obviously as things went along, I went to Guelph and ended up getting traded again shortly after to LA. But it was a lot to take in as a junior hockey player, just kind of living his life playing hockey. But I mean, I thought people around me, my close friends and things like that, there were a lot of support, and it was fairly an easy transition with all the organizations. I mean, Guelph, Owen Sound, LA, Toronto, all great organizations, and I mean, I thought everyone did a good job helping me transition.
So this could be kind of sensitive, but I imagine, I mean, you grow up in a suburb of Toronto and Mississauga. You're drafted in the second round. You're a top prospect in the Maple Leafs organization. I'm going to go out on a limb and assume you grew up as a Maple Leafs fan. Correct me if I'm wrong. It must have been pretty strange. Now, you're a year into your career, so I'm going to assume that things are in a totally different perspective now. I'm sure they are. But at the time, you're getting ready to maybe in a year or two wear a Maple Leafs jersey, or at least a Marlies jersey. And now all of a sudden you're heading out to the West Coast, and at least the weather's good. But I mean, that must have been psychologically, like, I was getting ready to play for my hometown team growing up.
Well, to be completely honest with you, I think as you move along in your career, as you grow up, you sort of lose that, not the fan aspect of it, and you kind of realize like this is reality for you, and I want to be a pro hockey player, and it's kind of thinking about your career, and it's not so much I'm a fan of this team, I'm a fan of this team. It's this is where I'm playing hockey, this is where I want to win games, and a lot of people ask me that question. It's funny because I did grow up a Maple Leafs fan, and obviously getting drafted to the Leafs was crazy for not only me but all of my support cast around me, my family, my friends, and it was a big moment for myself, and obviously being a fan and things like that. But once you realize that part is kind of just a business and it's part of your career, you kind of just you play hockey wherever you're going to play hockey, and you try to win games wherever whoever wants you to win games for them. And I think as I got traded, it was kind of it was a quick transition. It's a quick turnaround. It's not sulking over not being a Leaf anymore. It's now I'm with the Kings, and what can I do with the Kings now? And it was fairly easy for me, but I do get that question a lot. Being a Leaf fan growing up, but
I
kind
can
of
understand.
realizing,
I can understand that. Like
yeah,
I'm sure you're in a position, Zach. Like I have a lot of friends from home who will ask me what I thought about the Bruins game last night, and I'm like, man, I watch between the Kings and the Rain probably 120 hockey games a year. The last thing I want to do with my free time is go watch the Bruins. Like
yeah,
so I can understand that, but I also remember going to every game that I went to as a kid with my family, and you remember watching them. So I still think that that's always got to be ingrained. But now a year removed, you're out here in LA. What was it like coming from playing in Guelph, playing in north of the border, and now you're living in the South Bay?
yeah. But like you said, I mean, being a fan of a team, you never lose that. You never lose the love of the game, and I think that's what it was growing up. Is just that's my hometown team. I love the game of hockey, and I'm going to cheer for this team. And obviously transitioning now from playing north of the border and coming to the South Bay and playing hockey here, it's been a great experience. I mean, the weather's nice all year round, and it was a lot of fun. I met a lot of great people this year, and I'm really excited to get things going back with hockey again.
All right. Well, I want to. We're gonna get back to some hockey stuff. I'm sorry.
Cut out there for a minute there, Cam. Oh, well, we might have lost him. But we'll actually go back to the hockey while we wait for Cam to recover here on the tech side. But your first year with the Reign, at the beginning of the year, in and out of the lineup a little bit, what was the biggest transition for you as you went from the OHL, where you were one of the best players, if not maybe the best defenseman in the league, to being in a group where all of your teammates and all of your opponents were also among those best players in their respective junior leagues?
Yeah, well, it was obviously a big transition for myself. I was excited to go through it, and obviously have gone through it before with the OHL. Is coming in as a young player in that league, you realize you're a big fish in a small pond growing up, and then it's completely different. Everyone's good, and obviously there's that transition period of facing all these great players and kind of trying to work your way up to the top again, and I knew that coming into this year it was going to be the same thing. Nothing comes easy in hockey. Obviously going through it a few times, but I knew that there was a lot I could learn, and obviously there's still so much I could learn. But I think this year was a really good learning year for me. I think just playing with all these great players, new coaches, new organization completely. It was really good. It was really good for my development, and I think if I look at my game from a year ago, I think it's grown in so many different ways, and I really think this year did a lot for me.
You came into the Reign with three other first-year pro defensemen, and Toby Bjornfoot, Mikey Anderson, Marcus Phillips. Did you guys kind of have like a little bit of a support group amongst yourselves as the four of you tried to figure out, how to be a pro at the same time?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, it's really hard for a defenseman to come into pro, and I think just to learn the ins and outs of the league and the way guys play, and just kind of being a leader on the back end. Obviously, it's it's gonna take some time to do all that stuff and transition, but I think coming in with those three guys, it was really cool because I actually lived with Toby And me and Mikey played together a bit in the beginning of the year, and throughout the year completely. And me and Philly obviously have played together for the last 4 years. So it was really cool to kind of go through that as 4 young defensemen coming into the league and kind of learning the nuances in the league and kind of learning the things, ins and outs of the league. And really it was a great learning experience. And I thought it was really good for us to go through that together.
All right, I'm back. I've had some technical issues. Skype hasn't been my friend through quarantining from home. Jesse, our producer, is so good at editing, no one will ever know, though, right? So I want to jump in. Actually, before we jump into our game, I got one question for you. Zach, I don't know about you, but when I grew up, to learn how to spell Mississippi, you kind of do it with some cadence. You go MISSI, SSI, PPI, and right? Like I think that's pretty universal, or at least national, right?
That's how I learned it too. And a little aside, do you remember the movie Matilda?
Yeah.
Do you remember the Mississippi scene where they taught the little kids how to spell Mississippi with a song?
No, I don't.
Oh, that was another way to do it. But I think I know where you're going with this.
I remember Matilda. I don't remember a scene by scene cut of Matilda. But I was going to ask, is there a similar thing with Mississauga in Canada when it comes to that and learning how to spell it or anything like that?
I mean, I guess going through school, you got to learn to spell. I think that's just a normal thing people learn in school.
Do they go MISS?
Yeah.
ISSA.
It's the exact same thing. It's just AUGA at the end.
Yeah. Okay.
MISS and then
okay.
Exact same.
All right. I want to play a game. We've done Rain Insider, Rain Outsider. It's not really a game as much as an opinionated. I'm going to give you some topics. So this one will be Durs in, Durs out. Sorry, are you Durs in on this or are you Durs out on it? And they're all quarantine related things that have been trending. So Jesse, in our post effects, I'll ask you to throw some Ghostbusters instrumental music over that. It's usually good background bed. So start that right now. Okay. So we'll start topic, Durs in, Durs out, and we're going to start easy. The Tiger King. I've talked about it a few times. Have you watched The Tiger King?
Hilarious, because I just watched episode 1.
Okay, so you at least started. You're Durs in, Zach?
I am also Durs in. I've seen all of Tiger King except for the new bonus episode.
I'm not watching.
I heard about that.
It's worth a watch, in my opinion. So
I'm not watching it. I'm Durs out on Tiger King, and I watched all 7 because I had to, because I'm a slave to what's going on in pop culture. But I just, it could have been 3 episodes. That would have been plenty. Also, the fact that people want this guy out of prison is psychotic. He's a horrible, horrible man. Like
don't ruin the show here, Cam.
Remember, I'm only 1 episode in here, so
yeah, don't worry. I'm not I think this is in the as far as I'm concerned, he should be in the show for the rest of his life, let alone 20 whatever year. So don't worry.
We'll have
fine entertainment.
We'll have like a reunion episode of the Rainy Day podcast with Durs after he finishes Tiger King, and
we'll let you guys know right away.
We'll talk
like a 5-minute feature. I watched the whole thing because I had to, but after episode 3, I was like, these last 4 episodes could have been condensed into 1. All right, so you guys are Durs in. I'm Durs out on the Tiger King. Okay, WWE is the only live thing on right now in the country. I haven't really been watching it much, but I did mention I think it was on the live stream of the game or the post game shows that. But I need to start. Yeah, I need to start watching it. So, are you Durs in or Durs out on WWE?
Well, I'm a big sports guy. I like watching live sports on TV. I like watching any live entertainment on TV, and I'm gonna have to say Durs out. I've seen clips of the WWE with no fans, and I don't know if you guys seen it, but it looks pretty sad to me.
Yeah.
I'm Durs out. I'm Durs out on this one.
Zach?
I am also Durs out, and I've seen as well the clips on ESPN of from WrestleMania or whatever it was. Now, I was never really into WWE. The only times I really watched it was if there was a watch party with friends for one of the bigger events. And for me, the fun in that was just being with friends and having some food and drinks. It wasn't the actual wrestling. So
and it's the fans are half the show too.
That's
so I can understand
it's entertainment for the fans.
Yeah, that's the entertainment. All right, Durs out on those. Okay, I still don't know what this is, but TikTok.
Oh, I'm I'm a forced Durz in on this one. I got my girlfriend who loves it. I got my brothers who love it, and my 2 younger brothers who love it. So I'm a forced Durz in. I've actually taken part in a few of these. I got my buddy Matt Luff, who actually just made one with myself and a few other teammates in a feature with one of those. So it's like you still don't know what TikTok is, eh?
Well, I know is it just like a lip dub? Like they give you do a video with sound. Like, is that all it is?
It's comedy. You do a bunch of video. You can make your own sound. You get ad sounds. There's dances. It's honestly, it's taken quite the jump here with this quarantine. A lot of people have time to make TikTok, so I'm forced on this one. I personally don't have any myself, but I have to say Durz in because I have taken part in a few of them.
I am Durz out on TikTok like I'm never going to do it. I just don't see like myself sitting here taking 30 takes to get this exact dance down to the, like, I'm just not going to do that. A couple of them are entertaining. Like I watched Matt Luff's, they're entertaining, when he's got his dogs in there and whatnot. And I think I get it now. I think I understand it, but I'm not in.
Okay. This is kind of one that I just wanted to bring up because I don't think it'll work during the quarantine, but I had an idea. Like back with a stash, Zach, which I quit after a little while. I got tired of having a mustache. I'll regrow one. Don't worry about it if you're listening at home. But I got another one that we should do. Back with beepers. So beepers, you Durz in or you Durz out. Everyone's on their phone all the time. What if now all of a sudden we just go back to using beepers?
I'm Durz out.
Okay, Zach?
I'm Durz out as well. I don't think I could function in my job without my smartphone now.
Okay, yeah, well, like, what about like when you're, I don't know. There's something there. Like that's a technology that lasted only a very short amount of time. And maybe it's not going to overtake smartphones, but maybe there's a time and a place to use a beeper.
I feel like no one's communicating via phone calls for the most part these days. I feel like
it's just something I wanted to throw out there as part of Durz in, Durz out.
Maybe you're onto something, yeah.
Maybe Palm Pilots coming back too.
Well, no, that's just an iPad with a stylus. That's all that is. That doesn't work very well. Remember you had the one that like you could write on it and you'd write letter by letter and it would fill it in. That was like the coolest thing ever. Man, we've come a long way. Online poker.
Yeah, I'm actually Durz in on this one.
Have you done it?
I live with nothing for real money, but I live with Nick Suzuki, who's with the Montreal Canadiens now, and we actually played. I think it was one of my first nights back. I asked him, like, "What are you doing without hockey?" He says, "Nothing. I just downloaded this free online poker app, and I downloaded it as well, and we ended up playing for like 6 hours one night, and it was a good time. So now whenever I get bored, I hop on a little bit of online Texas Hold'em with them, and
you win some money.
Some time with that.
Wait, so are you playing against him, or are you playing against strangers?
So what we do is sometimes we go one-on-one, and sometimes we play with strangers, but it's nothing real money. It's just all virtual, all for fun. These coins they give you and things like that. But I don't mind a good game of poker. So I'm Durz in on this one.
Zach?
I have been Durz out in the sense that I haven't played it, but you mentioning it, it's like, I have in my life just gone on, downloaded I have it on my iPad, like the World Series of Poker app. I've gone on and played with strangers for the virtual currency, and maybe I will get back into it. So I'm like Durz on the fence here.
So I'm mentioning it, and I want to get Durz in. I want to just pump $10 into one of these things, but I know I'll lose it. Like I know there's just some guy out there who's just waiting for people like me to come on and just lose their money.
I feel like I can do pretty well in like the free ones, but then I feel like the skill level of your opponent, when you go up to the real games, you're getting into the guys who like they get dealt like a King 5 and they know the odds of winning the hand of the King 5. Whereas the people in the online app are just me. Like
every time I download a card game app, except for euchre, I can play euchre all day. But if I don't, well, we got to find 2 other people that nobody knows how to play out here. So,
I know euchre.
How do you know euchre?
We played it at the Rain Retreat.
Oh yeah, we did.
You taught me how to play it, and then
That's
I didn't
right.
know
So
the
you did
rules, so I downloaded the app and I was like playing
It's a
it on
great
like these bus rides
it's a
sometimes,
great
and
game, isn't it?
Oh,
Good.
it's a
learned the
really
game.
Okay.
fun
Yeah.
game.
We got to get one more. I know there's a few people in the Rain office that know. There was one other, obviously Steve knew when we played, but okay, good. Good to know. Once this is over, Okay. So with the exception that every time I download like a blackjack app or a poker app, I love it for 20 minutes and then I never want to play it again. And I'm like, what
Oh,
am I
that's
doing?
it.
So, but maybe if there was some real scratch, about okay, here's the next one. Puzzles. A lot of people are doing puzzles these days.
I'll be honest with you guys. I tried. Hard. There's out on this one. I just don't have the patience sometimes. I can't do it.
I am also Durs out. I haven't tried and don't think I have the interest to start trying. For her birthday, I sent my sister a Lego puzzle that I thought was pretty cool. So maybe if someone like sent me like a Legos thing, if that's kind of a puzzle, I could maybe get in on that. But actual puzzles, I am also Durs out.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't done one yet. I like them. I do one a year on Cape Cod. We usually buy one and we get it done, but that who knows if that'll happen this year. I
I
bought
think my
Scrabble.
I think my problem with puzzles first was I jumped into a thousand piece one.
That's you went big. But you know
Yeah.
what? That's why you were a second round pick because
Yeah.
you don't look at 500 and say that's enough. Fortnite.
There's out. All my buddies keep telling me to get it back, but I used to try. I used to play. A couple of years ago. I haven't played in over a year now, but I'm more of a sports game guy if I hop on any video games.
Mm-hmm.
I am Durs out for pretty much the same reasons, except I've never played it. I'm just so terrible at any games that aren't the sports games that like I like playing them like the campaign modes on those kind of games when I can just play the computer and they're not just sniping me with their guns every 3 seconds. But anytime I try, I know Fortnite's a little different, but anytime I've played like a Call of Duty game online, like I just get killed so many times that I lose interest and quit. So I didn't even try Fortnite.
The one thing I will say, and I've never played it, I have been very curious because it's free. So I'm like, why haven't I played it? I always wonder. Like I have the means to play it, but everybody seems to play this thing. Like people who are good at games, people who don't like game. Like I see people playing. My friends tell me to play who like have never played video games and they're obsessed with it. So maybe there's something there. I also hear that people get like addicted to this thing. So I also don't really want to play because if it is really good, I don't want to get addicted to anything like that. So I don't know. Reading books.
I'm gonna have to say Durs in.
Yeah, no one's gonna say Durs out to this because you want to sound like an
I'll be honest.
intellectual.
I'll be honest. Funny because Boca We Mama actually got me into it, and he lent me a book that I actually still have, and I probably shouldn't be saying because it was supposed to give it back to him, but I'm into he's into all the finance books and things like that, and motivation, and he kind of got me into it. And actually, I just ordered one, the Kobe Bryant book, the Mama Mentality book. It's coming, and we've talked about it. But I was Durs out before I met Boca We Mama, so he's kind of helped me out in that aspect of things.
I should be Durs in and want to be Durs in. I'm just Durs out because I haven't done it, and I feel like it's something I should be doing. Like I read all the time, but I don't read books. Like I read articles and things online, like on my tablet frequently, but I haven't sat down with a book or like an e-reader and read a book. So I don't know if that makes me Durs in or Durs out, but I think to your question, it makes me Durs out.
It's a challenge for me sometimes. Like I just finished Animal Farm last night. Like I think I read it like halfway through when I was in middle school or something. And I was like, you know what? I want to read this. It's short. So I've been trying to read these short books like that. Like I'm gonna do Fahrenheit 451. I want to do some classics, but it is just a challenge. Like sometimes I'll get through a chapter and be like, hey, I can be watching TV right now. And then I stop reading the book. So that's the big challenge for me.
You're rattling off some titles that I read the spark notes of back in like 9th grade.
Well, I did the first Game of Thrones book and it was taking me a while. And then and I've seen the shows obviously, so I kind of know it, but it was still entertaining. And then I got like 60-70% of the way through and I was hooked and I pounded through it. So I think and that happened with Animal Farm too. I got like halfway through and then I just, so I think you got to just like commit, and eventually you get hooked. But,
or TV with subtitles sometimes works.
Yeah, there you go. Well, Parasite was a great movie.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that one? Go check it out if you haven't.
I actually saw it on. I got this movie app or whatever, but I should watch it.
Yeah, it's excellent. You gotta commit. Like, you can't be on your phone. You gotta watch because it has the whole thing is subtitles, but very worth it. Did you see it, Zach?
I have not seen it.
Yeah. Like, I bought it on demand because everyone was talking about it and we wanted to watch it. And this was, we watched it before all this started, after they won like every award, and it was worth the $5-6 whatever I had to pay. So
I'll check it out tonight.
Yeah, check it out.
Very good. Something to do.
All right, I got one more. Shark Tank.
Shark Tank, the TV show?
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I love that show.
Massively Durzi. I feel like I watch that all the time.
I think I watch Shark Tank every single day since this quarantine started.
Show.
It's so
Such a good show.
Every time I turn on my TV, I can count that Shark Tank and Impractical Jokers will both be on.
Yeah, Shark
every single day.
I know Shark Tank's on 6 to 7, and then Jeopardy starts at 7, and then I decide if I want to watch a movie or something. But and usually there's 2 episodes during the week on CNBC. But Shark Tank is, and I've gotten so critical. Like, if someone comes in, like Meredith could be in the other room and someone will come in and be like, "Hi, I'm whatever from wherever I'm from, and I'm asking for $800,000 for 5% of my company." I'm always like, "Get out of here!"
You're becoming one of the judges.
Some of these people, like, you're gonna get crucified if you come in asking for money like that. And they
always try to. They always try to come in big, and then they always shut them down large. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I'm we're
screen
getting through. Well, it drives me crazy. It's like, you've seen the show, where this is going. I always get it. Yeah. There's some of these people I can't stand either. Like, I don't like it when they're arrogant and they know they have something, and I like it. Like, Damon usually calls them out when they're just there to get the marketing, and I'm always just waiting for it. And so.
You also, though, every so often, you get one of those people that you're talking about that you're like, oh, these guys are going to get blown off. And they're like, oh, I have 1.5 million in sales last year. And they're like, oh, and everyone just goes crazy. And
it's always about the sales. And I've always got like a few like lines, like, again, like, I'll watch. I'm sure you watch with Lexic. Like, I'm watching with Meredith, and she'll be like, "What do you think? Do you think this is a good product?" I'll be like, "Well, let me hear the sales numbers.
Yeah.
What's the cost landed? What's the landed cost on this?
I want to know what their margins are. I have to know what the margins are. I got to know all these things now.
Are those sales year to date or since the company's inception? There's a lot of things.
Yeah, there's so much.
All important info.
Well, that's it. That's all I have for Durz in, Durz out. Thanks for playing. I think that was a good amount.
It's a good game.
That was the perfect quarantine podcast game.
Good. Well, if we're wrong about any of these, there were only a few that were pretty controversial. I knew Shark Tank was going to be all Durz in, but there were only a few controversial. So go ahead and add us, as they say, and let us know what you think. All right, Sean, you mentioned that you live with Nick Suzuki. I know you played junior with him. I always like to ask, who did you play against in junior that like you just knew, maybe especially when you were younger and now they've had a chance to prove themselves, you just knew like, this guy is gonna make, this guy knows how to play the game, kind of thing?
Yeah, well, there was it was my first year of, actually my second year of junior, and was going up against the Erie Otters with Dylan Strome, Alex DeBrincat, and it was a playoff game. We were in the conference finals. And I was out there against the Strome line with the DeBrincat, and I remember, obviously, when you're out against those guys, you try to play a little bit more cautious. Try to choose a simpler play, and kind of just get the puck out, and try not to give them too much. And I remember I shot the puck, tried to get the puck out. I shot it almost as hard as I could off the glass, and tried to get it out of the air. And I remember Alex DeBrincat's stick just came out of nowhere and, just smacked it and somehow stopped the puck. And they went back the other way and had a grade A scoring chance. And I got to the bench and, my coach kind of asked me, like, you got to get the puck out. Like, and I kind of gave him a look and I just said, hey, like, you watch the tape, I shot the puck as hard as I could. I don't know how he got that, and he always made he always made great plays like that. And my coach ended up watching the tape, and he saw it as well, and we kind of had a laugh about it because we won the game. But I'm sure if we didn't win the game, it would have been a different conversation. And he was always one player that I thought always found a way to score, and even though he was a little bit smaller and he always made the right plays and things like that, he found his way into the NHL, and he's had a pretty good career so far. So that's got to be one guy that I remember for sure, kind of just making plays that I thought were really unbelievable.
And then I'll steal from Zach because he always asks about the drafts, and I'm always curious to hear. Like, and you know what? It kind of goes back to what we were talking about with getting drafted by your hometown team. I mean, did you have an idea that you might get drafted by the Leafs? Were they pretty open in their conversations with you leading up to it about that? Like, hey, if you're available here, we're going to take you. Or when they rolled around, was it a total shock?
Well, to be honest, it was my second draft round. I sat through 7 rounds with my parents. We went to Chicago the year before, and I didn't get picked. So going through that draft was kind of going to be a surprise anywhere, because as the draft went on, I kind of thought to myself, like, this is kind of like deja vu. Like, am I going to get picked? Is this really going to happen? And I had a few conversations with the Leafs. I met with them at the Combine, and I met with them actually in Dallas before the draft in a short interview, and I had no idea. I had no idea what was going to happen. I thought LA was a pretty good opportunity. I thought maybe LA was going to take me, and I had a few good conversations with them, and I honestly, going into it, it was honestly a complete surprise. Like, it was still kind of looking at my name, and when it was on the board, like, is that my name? Like, is this real? But I was thrilled.
Durz, your draft year was your second draft eligible year, if I'm correct. Did you expect to go in the first year, or were you kind of like not necessarily expecting to go, and then something changed between your first and your second draft years?
Well, I was ranked in North America, I think like 128 or something like that, and that's just North America. Obviously, it's the whole world in the draft. But I thought I had a buddy that year, Suzuki. Obviously, he was projected in the first round, and I think if he wasn't going to go in the first round, I probably wouldn't have gone. It probably would have helped my decision so much. But there was a chance that I got drafted, and I thought that I should have been drafted, and I thought, I thought that maybe I did enough that season to kind of, get a team to take a shot on me and take a risk or whatever. And it didn't happen, but I was lucky enough to see a few of my friends go, and I think my team had 6 guys drafted that year. So it was a really good year for the Owen Sound Attack, and I did get to see a lot of friends get drafted. So it was a good experience. I got to see Chicago, but I think, yeah, for sure, if I didn't have Suzuki going in the first round, maybe it would have helped my decision. But I mean, I don't regret going at all. I think it was a really good experience for myself. I think it's a really big part of my career and really big piece of why I'm here today.
Somewhat funny that you thought maybe the Kings would take you, and they take Akil Thomas 1 pick before you. Maybe some healthy competition there later on. I guess nobody really cares anymore. But that's somewhat funny. That's always interesting. It's always interesting to look at these drafts and then be like, man, they could have had Pavel Datsyuk like in the 5th round or whatever. Yeah, so it's always fun to watch there to kind of see how those things play out. It's just like trades. It's like, we're going to get a good idea on your trade. I think you're right, Zach. Like, I think this trade, Muzzin going to Toronto, helps them at the time, and the Kings looking for some return. But I mean, you're going to look back on it at some point and decide who won and who lost. And generally it's pretty clear cut. Who knows what it'll be with this one, but we'll see what you guys do. And, it's a blast to look back on those things from a fan perspective. I know, at least for me. Other than that, Zach, I think we'll let Sean get back to his busy day. But since I can't see you right now on the Skype, I want to make sure you don't have anything else.
No, I'm all good. Looking at your CC placeholder video here. Durz and
I'm looking at your ZD. So.
Oh, well, Durz and I have each other's video up, so we'll have to sort out these tech problems at the Close household for future editions.
Yeah, well, don't get your hopes up. Sean, thanks a ton for coming on, and I'm sure we'll have you back at some point.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. I'm happy we could make this work with my busy schedule. I guess I'll go back to watching some TV shows, Tiger King, and maybe reading a few books. But happy we could squeeze this one in my busy schedule.
Shark Tank's on tonight. A few of
Yeah,
them.
yeah. Maybe I'll get on to that too.